Hey everybody, how you guys doing? Welcome to the Edge of Tech and the Community Showcase right here on the Edge of Tech channel. To my left, technically on screen, everybody say, hey, Pooch, how you doing?
What's up, everybody? I'm doing good, man. I love how you come in. You just you hit it hard.
Rocking.
Come in. I just want to,
I was like rocking. I saw my hair flying while the intro was going. I was like, I better calm down. Someone commented on one of my videos that I was like Wayne and Garth. And so I was like, one of these days I'm going to do that. I'm just going to come in straight Wayne and Garth. It'll be funny.
I mean, you have the hair for it. You totally do the whole, the swinging hair guy that's like,
right. Get it all going.
Yeah.
My wife's upstairs going, don't fluff it. Oh, so how you been?
Man, I have been great. We've been having just a really cool, I guess, end of summer. Kids are back in school, kind of enjoying the last of the warm weather. I think we got a little time on the warm weather still out here in California. It's pretty hot here. I know it's a little gloomy where you're at, right?
Yes, it's been all day. It's been raining. Actually, it started last night, but we are praying for warm weather to continue. We had a really rainy spring. So we're actually waiting for a patio to get poured in our backyard, and they have not been able to do it since we ordered it in April. So they're so far behind with all the rain we've gotten, they can't come back in the grass, or in the spring, they couldn't come back in the grass for many people. So they had to push us back. We're hoping September, we'll see. But sun would be good. We'll take the sun, shoot us off into November with the sun. I'm okay with that.
Cool.
Either that or I'm going to move out by you guys.
Come on out, man. Plenty of room.
Well, hey, everybody in the stream. I appreciate you guys. You guys were here super crazy early. I think I jumped on to just get stuff set up, and Bob Fenner was the first one here. And I think that was like an hour. I mean, at least an hour and a half before the stream even came on. And then when we got down here, I saw a whole bunch of chatting again when I came back down. So thank you guys so much for coming in early. I really appreciate it. We have another great show. As you know, Pooch, where can we find you? Where are you from? Tell everybody about yourself.
Oh, man. Okay, well, I'm all over the place. I do a couple different things, but for those of you who haven't met me before, my name is Alan Puccinelli. Everybody calls me Pooch. I didn't come up with that myself, but it is cool having like a one-name moniker like Sting or, Bono or Madonna, that kind of thing. I do a little show called Community Ketchup that we do every 2 weeks with my buddy Travis, A Pyro Design, and his wife Heather, DD Header, head of the Pink Mafia, 3D Pink Mafia. And I also have a little brand called Repkord, and we're responsible for the Rep Box and a couple of other cool little 3D printing accessories and whatnot. So that's me in a nutshell.
Nice.
Yeah.
But I love the Community Ketchup every other week. I usually catch it the next day. I do a catch-up on the ketchup. And
the ketchup? After the ketchup?
Exactly. Not crunch.
No. I can't believe that Heather held on to that stuff. I don't know if you saw it yesterday, but she willingly put crunch on her tostada, and I was like, "Why do you even still have that stuff?" It's terrible.
Oh man, I think a collective 3D printing world may have thrown up in the mouth when you put it right in his mouth. Anyways, yeah, exactly.
For sure.
I know we could talk. We did a really cool test stream that we had a great conversation, and I know we could talk all night, but that's not why we're here. I want to go through some housekeeping, and then let's get in a really awesome guest today. We got Travis. He's coming in from Sad Narwal Props, and also Karl from Enact 3D Designs. He's going to be in. Karl's down below in the green room, we'll call it. We have really good tacos in the green room. So when you're chilling back there, feel free as much as you want. It's on us.
It's true.
But he just switched his hat. I don't know if you can see him. He had a hat change down there. Yeah.
Is he going more formal for the stream, or is it more of a casual hat? Well, I guess we'll find out soon enough. Huh?
You'll find out. Yeah. You never know. Yeah. Now it's over his eyes, so he can't even tell what's going on. But a couple quick things. Thank you so much to the sponsors. We got TH3D. They gave away a $25 gift card last week. Thank you so much for that. StreamYard for putting out this platform for us to be on. I love this platform. It's a lot of fun and makes it really easy for streamers and people that want to go live in general. So if you haven't checked that out, in the description below. Check them out. There is a free version. You can use it as much as you want. So check that out. RPM Designs, Robbie Mack. He is in the house. I believe I saw him commenting earlier. I think.
Back in the house.
I thought so. And so there we go. Brian Vines got blacklisted for a second there, but
too many puns.
Yeah, exactly. He did all the graphics for us with RPM Designs. Thank you so much, Robbie Mack. And tonight, COEX is another sponsor of the show. They're giving away a mystery roll tonight. We're going to do that later, along with I'm going to give away a roll of filament as well. I think I said a $25 gift card actually to COEX, and I'll work that out with whoever wins later. So last week I had a bet. It was kind of a one-sided bet with Walter from Fun in the Country Basement. If he would get his new printer printing, I told him I would put a gift card out, like as an incentive, because well, we know Walter, and we didn't know if it was going to happen or not.
Well, he needs motivation. Like, you know.
He finally got it working last night, and this was like almost a week later. So he did not get it working that night, but just because I'm going to give away one anyway, just because why not? We'll support a channel, and he did get it printing last night. I think Filament came out of the hot end, which is a win in a lot of situations. So
I mean, that's step one.
Exactly.
You get going out of the hot end, you know.
So stick around for the giveaways later. Funny. Brian Vines said he had a headache earlier. I don't think that's affecting the puns. So keep those up. We're gonna bring in Travis from Sad Narwal Props. We're gonna get him in right now. Hey Travis, how you doing?
Hey guys.
What's up, Travis?
Hey.
So I met you at Murph, and we did a quick interview with you, and I loved your stuff when we're walking around Murph, but I'm a big props nerd anyway.
Right.
Tell everybody about you. Where are you from? Where can we find you, and what you do?
Okay, sure. Well, I'm Travis. I'm a prop maker in my spare time, student in my full time. I'm from a little town called Breckenridge, Michigan, just middle of nowhere, mostly cows. Yeah, I like to 3D print and make props out of the stuff I make. So.
Nice. So you use 3D printing to make your props along with multiple other tools. Kind of, you know, we could bring one up in a minute. We'll bring one up and you can kind of go through that. But how do you enact 3D printing into your props?
Well, I usually I plan what I want to do with the prop by making it up in Fusion 360 or something like that. Just because I have this problem, I can't visualize stuff in my head. I can't get dimension in space, so I have to have something in a picture. So I go from there, print it out, because I like to print stuff just because it stays dimensionally accurate. No matter what you do with it, if you have the printer tuned in right. Just because I'm a clumsy person. I've tried using foam and other stuff. I'm no surgeon, so if I can do if something else can do it for me, I'm happy with it.
So Trav, I got a question. So did you only get started? You seem pretty young. How old are you?
I'm 22.
Yeah, you're a young guy. So did you just get into prop making like once you had a 3D printer, or were you using different mediums before, and like 3D printing really helped enable your creative process?
Yeah, well, I was always like a creative kid. I was like, when I was in middle school, I had the giant crate full of colored pencils and stuff. But once I got into college, I got my first 3D printer. It was a Monoprice Select Mini, like the first one.
Yes.
So I could only make tiny stuff. And then I saw one day on Thingiverse, it was the Han Solo blaster, one of them. And I was like, oh, I want to make that. That's cool. And it started from there, just getting really frustrated trying to print this one guy's files. And I just kept saying every time, you know, something broke or I did something wrong, like if I could just mess with the files, it'd be perfect. So I said from there, I'm just making all my own stuff from now on because I'm stubborn. And now we're here.
Yeah, well, you want it done right, you got to do it yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is this the blaster here?
Yep.
Nice.
That's amazing. We talked. I'm pretty sure we featured this guy on Ketchup a couple months back. This is a really well done piece here.
Really? Oh.
I'm fairly. I know I've seen it before, and we get tags and stuff. We've been doing it over a year now, so
right.
I'm fairly certain we've seen it.
Yeah, and I think when we were talking the other day, I mentioned that Travis was going to be on, and you're like, I remember his blaster. So I mean, it was right off the top of your head. So
and the pipe gun from Fallout too. You did that, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite. I love that. I'm not a big gamer, but I love Fallout. That's such a fun franchise.
So real quick, before I lose track of this comment, Kit wants to know the origin of the name of the Sad Narwhal.
Okay. Yeah. I came up with it one night. Friends and I were playing a game. You ever play like Jackbox, Party Pack, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
There was, I can't remember what game it was, but we had to be incognito. We couldn't use our normal names because I usually went as Fanny Pack for some reason. And I was like, okay, think of an animal and something else. And for some reason, a narwhal came to my head, and then put sad on it. That's it. Yeah, it just kind of stuck from there. Nothing like, I was out on an ocean liner and saw a crying narwhal and thought, that's it.
I mean, it did make me curious, like what the default emotional state of a narwhal is.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I guess. Indifferent?
Yeah, they're very deep creatures.
That's funny.
They're deep.
They're deep. So I gotta
pull your inner Brian Vines there.
Yeah. 3D medic Vince.
Mm-hmm.
He called you out. He saw you in the second building of Murph this year.
Yeah, he was my neighbor.
That's great.
He was pretty cool. Yeah, I saw him in the chat and was like, "Oh my god, it's that guy! Cool."
Yeah, I love that. So I'll tell you what. Let's bring in some pictures. I want to go through your pups and check these out. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring them. Let's bring them full screen so they're a little bit larger. Everyone can still hear us. So what are we looking at here?
Okay, so this is it's from Game of Thrones. It's Tormund Giantbane's axe he used in like one scene in the entire show. A friend of mine at work, I used to work at a Staples. A friend of mine there was like, "Hey, my husband's a super big Game of Thrones nerd. Can you make me this?" And she just sent me a picture of this, and it was literally the only reference picture I had. So I was like, "Okay, sure." So it took me like, I don't know, like a month to draw it, print it, get it all nice looking, and yeah, it came out pretty good.
Look at the weathering on that, man. Right. That's some good detail. Mm-hmm. And I like the mixed medium, right? So you got some like leatherette wrapping or something, and is that, I'm assuming that's not real fur.
No, it's faux fur and upholstery leather.
Good, fur friendly.
The wood's real.
All right. So what are we looking at here?
This one, it's a steel dagger from Skyrim. I made one like years ago, and it was kind of it was okay, but once I started getting into my own stuff and doing more stuff like selling online, I figured I could make a new one, see like show progress over time. So yeah, that's like the new and improved version.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
The puns are flying in the chat right now. It's hilarious. So I'm guessing did you make the dice or did you do the skull or both?
That is actually I found it on. That's another thing I found on Thingiverse. I saw it and was like, oh, that's cool. I'll do that. So I just printed it, kind of on a whim. Painted it.
What was the finishing process for that? Like the especially on the die, like where you're getting that kind of like marbling effect.
I bought it at a comic shop.
Oh, those are actually not. Those are not.
Yeah, I wanted it to have like a cool color contrast.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So flip that. What's the finishing on the skull? How about that?
Sure. It's just a bunch of. Well, it's a purple Hatchbox PLA for one. Sanded down about as smooth as I could get it, and then a whole bunch of layers of white craft paint, and then I just threw a bunch of dirty like browns and yellows and let it dry for a second and just wipe it off. That's it.
See, you said as far as like seeing it and visualizing it, you're not the best at that. Mm-hmm. But I tell you what, I look at this and I'm like, I know it would look cool like that, but I don't think I could do it. I'm not that artistically inclined. So, oh, sweet.
Whoa.
So,
that one.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. So that one is it's a Precursor Orb from Jack and Daxter. It was like an old PS2 game. I grew up with it, and I played it. I don't know how many times I beat the game, but I always wanted one, but I could never figure out how to make one, like getting all the weird runes put in right and making all the different stuff. So one day I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to teach myself how to do this, and it, turned out pretty okay, I think.
Yeah, it did.
I concur.
Yeah, that's. Oh man. All right. I know we have more here. So which way do I go? Come on. Apparently it doesn't like me. So we'll shut it all down. How about that? That's it. It's over. No, I'll find them in 2 seconds. But that's cool. So when is it multiple layers of different like patinas and stuff that you're putting on the props to give them that weathering, or is it kind of all like mixed and done at once?
It's a lot of layers. Just because I guess the way I see it is like when you're looking at a paint job, you're not just looking at the surface. You're looking directly through it, right to the material. So you have to have a good base material. And you have to have a good like a primer that has a good matching color to it.
Right.
All that, and then weathering. You have to have kind of like you have to think about what you have, where it would be, and then think of like, oh, would this get really sandy? So it'd be more of like a yellow color. If it was dropped in some mud, so it'd be more of like a black. So it's like you're telling a story just by looking at something and painting it. So.
Nice. So I got it back up. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So when I look at something like this blaster here, like how many hours do you think you have in that, Travis?
Printing or painting?
Both. Like from inception to finish. Like what kind of commitment does it take to get to that level of detail?
That was. Oh my God, how long was that? That was, I would say about a month, maybe 2. But that was like I was working in my spare time, just printing stuff when I can, painting stuff when I can. But it's just a lot of patience.
It really does. I think that's why I'm not cut out for prop making. I'm a broad strokes guy.
Right. So what someone asks, what's your longest print? So let's kind of transition that. What's your longest build start to finish on any prop you've done?
Longest build.
Like start to finish.
I would say I think it'd have to be probably the Game of Thrones axe, because it took a long time to print just the axe head, get it drawn up, just because it's some of the geometry was a little weird in places, and then finding the right material, get everything looking just right, because I'm the whole point is to make it look realistic. I specialize in realistic looking stuff, but if it's a cartoon, just make it look right the first time, I guess.
Sure. So this is the one that Pooch was talking about. This thing is awesome. So I got to zoom in on this just because I was looking at this earlier when you sent it to me, and I'm just like down to the crust inside of here,
Oh yeah. Guess what that is, actually?
Coffee grounds.
Close.
Dirt.
No.
Dried blood of your enemies.
Yeah.
No, it's cinnamon, actually.
Oh, cinnamon.
I could smell it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have never guessed that.
Jim, you got to work on getting some smell for us so we can really experience these props.
I do. I mean, I could tell you that this is electrical tape, but but the cinnamon, not so much. That's awesome. So a couple more here. This looks like the start of something.
Yeah. So I made. I really like working with wood fill type of PLA.
Sure.
And I found that, if I'm printing in wood fill, I don't want to cover up the woodness of it. That's a word. So what I do is I print it at a really weird angle, and use Cura's whatever. organic support setting. So it puts all these little fingers up into the different crevices and everything.
The tree supports.
It gives them a really organic,
Nice.
kind of almost, what is the word? Grain to it. Yeah, that's it.
Sure.
Yeah. You know, I've spent a little bit of time playing with wood fill, and obviously, like, not every wood fill, just like metal fill, any PLA fill, you know, they're not created equal, right? So, I mean, do you have a specific brand you like? Because it's like the degree of how much wood pulp is in there, and you know what nozzles you can use. There's a lot of variables that go into getting a successful wood fill print, right? Because too much pulp, you'll jam. And what tips do you have for people that might want to try getting into something like that?
With wood fill, it's kind of you just have to test as much as you can. You can kind of tell just by looking at the filament by itself. So you can see the color, the texture. Like I have two types right now. The first one I got is from like MG Chemicals or something like that. It's this kind of no name, I think a Chinese brand. That's what I printed this out of. I love their stuff because it's, you know, it really holds wood stain. Stands really nicely, and it smells like pretzels when you print with it. So I think it's cool.
I could not do that. I'd be sitting here. I'd be twice as big as I am if I was doing pretzels all day long.
Making me hungry.
And I have this other one. I can't remember what the name was, but I thought, oh, it's, you know, it's a little cheaper. I get more for what I'm getting, so I figured try it out. This one was like, I think it was more plastic than wood because it came out like a darker color, a little more like plasticky, kind of like the filament itself before it actually goes through the nozzle actually looks kind of oily for some reason. But it works, I guess. But a lot of it's just trial and error.
I just love, I mean, I was just scrolling around, and I mean, it looks like real wood would do this. It would have the cracks in it. It would, you know, it's so cool that you're getting that out of your printing. What's going on here?
So that is, I kind of wanted to show like a before and after effect, it was kind of like a training thing for myself, studying aging and weathering and that sort of stuff. So I was watching this video from another prop maker, Kamui Cosplay, and it was in her book, I should say. She had one of these Fallout Vault-Tec plate things, so I made one myself because I thought that'd be a cool, almost like a swatch to test stuff on. So I tried doing the clean version on the top, which I'm very bad at. I have a hard time doing clean lines and not making it look kind of crummy, you know.
So is that painted? That's not multiple filament colors then. That's
just it's black PLA from Hatchbox.
And you finish, okay.
So yeah, they're both made by made with the same material, and I did the first one, the top one first, to kind of get like an example of what I would go from, and then think of like where would this be, you know, what would it go through. So I thought like, oh, you know, the gold would scratch off back to bare metal, the blue would still be there in some way, but like rust would come in, or the bare metal from that would be there. So yeah, it's a lot of like, painting is almost like a muscle. You just got to keep working at it. So.
Just keep going.
Gotta keep flexing it, huh? Or now you hand doing this, or you do like combo, like airbrushing, a little bit of everything?
I've tried airbrushing, but I broke my needle, so I haven't gone back to it. I'm not the greatest at it.
Yeah.
But usually what I do is it's either hand brushing with acrylic paints or spray paints. That's it. This is from Castlevania, the Netflix series.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I saw it. I was watching it in bed, and I thought, oh, that's cool. I want to, you know, make this cartoon thing real. So I literally ran up to my TV, had my remote in my hand, and just kept like snapping pictures at every angle I could. Nice. And then I found out like a week later, the creator of the show put out on Twitter like almost like a build sheet
Okay.
of the character with their thing, the hammer. So I was like, oh, thanks, dude.
Nice. That is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, just the sheer time that you put into this stuff is crazy. I think about the prints, and I'm like, where would I find time to not only print but then finish them like you're finishing them? And I think that's pretty cool.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, I'm famous for saying like Pooch doesn't sand, so like props are just out for me. Like sanding just is just tedious. I want to find a way to get as close to a finished thing without having to sand as possible.
Right.
You gotta treat sanding like just it's therapeutic. Just get your mind off stuff. Throw something in your ears.
Nice.
Hey, listen, before we let you go, I wanted to ask, there's a lot of really awesome prop makers on YouTube and online and stuff like that. Do you have any that like are inspirations to you that you really like to watch to try to like up your game?
Yeah. Bill and Brittany Duran from
Punish Props, man.
They made me who I am just by watching their videos. Kamui Cosplay, she's a Svetlana. She's from Germany. She's cool.
But wait, she's on now. No, I'm just joking.
Whoa. Volpin Props. He's from Georgia. Real cool guy.
Cool.
There's all kinds of people out there. Like, I mean, go for print advice. I would say probably 3D printing nerd, Joel, because it was when I first got started. It was Bill Duran and Joel Telling. They got me into making the stuff I did.
Nice. I knew it was coming some point in the stream. I just don't have the video to play. Did you see what I put up there?
Yeah. I did.
So if you guys have not seen that video, find it. Just look up. You'll find it. Just look it up.
It's only a matter of time before people start taking digs,
Yeah. Nice. Well, hey, Travis, hang out for a minute. We're going to bring Karl in for a little bit, and then we'll bring you both in at the end of the stream here, and then we can all talk for a little while. But thank you so much.
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't do it. not without like someone like, here, you put this here, and then you put,
Right.
Nice work, man. Well, thank you. We'll see you in a few.
Yeah, cool. Be here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man, I tell you, I just, like I said, the time to do that.
I'm always in awe, man. I see that in like just the amount of patience. I mean, I think we all do. This is the cool thing about 3D printing. Like to us, it's, it's just, I don't know. I guess it depends on what your perspective is, but it seems like a small community, but then there's like these little subsets within the 3D printing community, right? So you got your prop makers, your cosplayers, your fabricators, people that are trying to sell stuff, like entrepreneurs, the possibilities are endless, right?
Yeah, it's almost like you said, you take like 3D printing as a big circle, and then you can say, well, there's one here, and then there's just so much you can do with it. I saw someone posted a really sweet, they made a coffee cup, and then I'm not sure if you've seen those people that are taking like the tumblers, like the Yeti tumblers and stuff, and then like putting sparkles and stuff. Well, they printed a coffee cup, and then they did that, and then acrylic or resined over the top, like through the whole coffee cup, so you could actually use it.
Resin is so hot right now, man. Everybody's resining all the things.
Yeah, it's everything. Speaking of all the things, let's bring in Karl. How you doing, Karl?
Hi, guys.
Karl!
How's it going, Pooch?
How you doing?
I got my hat on. You happy?
You went with the fancy one, I see.
Of course. This is what everybody knows me in. This is how I stay incognito when I go in public. If I don't wear this hat, nobody recognizes me.
This is Karl's going out hat, Jim.
This is your going hat. So, what happened to the hat you had on like 2 minutes ago? You just
give it time.
Okay, we won't surprise it.
You're gonna cut away and come back. He's got a different hat on. His beard's growing another foot.
Nope, still there.
Oh, okay. Still there. Too quick. Couldn't switch that fast.
Man, Karl, how are you?
Good.
You doing good? So there is a giant Thanos blade behind you. I think
where did that come from?
Yeah, I think we have to address the giant blade in the room first.
Yeah, nicely done.
It's optical illusion. It's really,
it's very close.
It's not that big at all. No.
It's not that big at all.
It's a zoom in. It's a wide angle lens. It just looks big. It's only like 3 inches by 5 inches.
And
You map yourself out over top of it. It's great. Smoke and mirrors. I love it.
Well, the green screen behind you, maybe it is.
Oh, no, here's your proof.
That's the scale. That's full Thanos size.
Yeah, this is full Thanos. So much to scale. The ceiling in my basement is only 6.5 feet tall. So
Yeah.
that is as straight up as I can hold it.
Nice.
That's Florida.
How tall? How long is it?
8 days. That's how long. No. 8 feet 4 inches long.
Wow.
8 feet 4 inches long. So, and you did that. We were talking, I believe you did that in 2 pieces, correct?
Correct. It's split lengthwise down the sword, and then the 2 halves are sandwiched together.
Oh, okay. So it's actually too wide for the printer.
No, it's this way. So
Right,
right,
because
on the belt. If you watch the video, it's laid flat on the belt,
right,
and the whole thing end to end, and then the 2 halves are slapped together.
right.
Nice.
So I just want
You can put a screen film in the middle too. Yeah, that's good.
So Patrick said, how much does that weigh? Patrick's Workshop commented, how much does that weigh?
14 pounds roughly. It's like 13.7, but I figure by the time I get filler and paint and everything on it, it'll be a full 14 plus pounds, give or take.
And I just have to, Robert Valine, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. He shot 20 bucks to the he shot $20 to the channel and to support the stream. So thank you so much. See ya. No, I'm just joking.
Take the money and run, Jim. Take the money and run.
He changed hats. We don't know who he is now.
He's died down. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Crocodile Dundee is now. Yeah.
So we were talking about the blade and how you literally printed it in 2 pieces, right? So for anyone here that doesn't know what you do, explain what you do, because the printer that blade is sitting on right now actually printed it, right?
Correct. Yeah. Well, I guess first we say, yeah, I'm Karl with Enact 3D Designs on YouTube, Twitter. It's all Enact 3D Designs. There's a couple videos of it printing this blade out there on my channel. Yeah, it was 8 days of just pure torture watching it roll out, because what you don't see is the stack of failed prints I have that's like this tall. Because as you see here, this first little bit is nice and smooth and pretty. It doesn't get real hairy till you get about right here when you get all the inlays. So I would print for 28 hours and then get like here, and then something would go wrong and it would snag or do something. And I'd start it again, make some changes. When I first sliced it, it was like a 4.5, 5 day print. By the time I finally got the settings slowed down enough that I wasn't getting layer shifts or, just weird things happening, it turned into 8 days aside.
So, do you suppose? So you said it started off okay, and then you start to get beyond the width or the length of the belt, and then you're going to have more mass and support issues. I'm assuming you put it on some rollers as it's coming off. So
yeah. I have a whole set of like an 8 foot long set of rollers I can put on an adjustable table at the end of and just feed it right off onto it.
So did you have to stop and then glue it all together, or were you able to recover to some extent and keep going on the original print?
The first couple I just started over because it was, I'm like, okay, I'm 1 day in, it's not that much, I'll start over. I had an issue, I think it's on the other side, where I actually got to the point I was so nervous watching it, I set up a VPN so I could sit and monitor it from work. And I looked up and I talk about convenience. I logged in to look at it. Just as I look at it, it shifts. And I'm like, pause. So I come home and it had printed like one layer and it shifted enough. I was able to just grab it, peel it off, step the belt back, cut the G code, and start it again, and it finished it. That was the only error I had on the one side, but it was like, luckily I caught it soon enough. I was able to just peel it right off.
Nice.
If you watch the video, you'll see a point where it just sits and stays put in one spot for a while, and that was me coming home to fix it and then starting it again.
Yeah, what do they say? A watch print never finishes or whatever.
Yeah,
I was laughing. I was laughing for a couple reasons. Number one, because of 3D Medic Vince's comment. He he said he had it on a TV and on a PC, and there's a 15-second delay. Looked away from the TV to type on the PC and back, and you had a different hat on each screen. It looked like. So, and then Cody said, was weight an issue for the print? Like, how did you hold it up as it was coming off the end? Because for people that aren't familiar with you, it's a belt-driven printer. It has an endless print Z, right? Is that
right?
Correct. Yeah. So, I mean, it could go on forever. I know at Murph you had the coins falling off. And that was pretty cool. But I mean, theoretically, you showed me a test you were doing to maybe break a world record, and that could go on as long as you had filament, right?
Correct.
Yeah, keep feeding it. And with the advent of, if you have a palette in multi-spool mode, or, there's any number of ways where you can keep feeding it.
Or 10K spool from IC3D,
the big boys.
This was just to see if I could go after the world record that NASA holds, which is like 127 feet. This was basically about a foot an hour in spiral vase mode with a 0.8 nozzle, and it's solid. It's not going anywhere.
Will not break.
And it doesn't weigh hardly anything. But I figure this right here, each side is about 4 kilos. And I figured it would take about 5 kilos to actually beat the world record if I printed it out of this. So I don't think weight will be an issue printing a 127-foot long tube.
Right. Deflection over that length, though, Karl. To practice,
I'm gonna have a lot of roll.
Yard long enough? Are you just gonna stick it going out a window?
I said I got to find a place as big as IC3D that'll let me set up for a weekend, and then I'll be able to do something like that.
That's wild. Well, and then to go for the actual Guinness Book of World Records, that's an expensive. There's a different hat again. I love it. How many hats you got down there, man?
Well, you had a comment on the hat, so I had to prove I was not just one hat. I am a man of
He's not one hat. He's not one trick pony. He's got all the hats.
I had to pull Brian Vines right there and make a pun out of the whole conversation.
I love it.
I wear many hats.
That's many hats.
3D printing enthusiast, 3D printer designer, single father, general Pooch, harasser. I have many hats I wear.
General now too. Look at that. I love it.
I believe it's become a drinking game. Mr. Buckram said hat number 4. So
I like it.
Everybody has to, every time there's a hat change, we all have to, So Dr. Jekyll said, how do you slice and prepare for that orientation? I know, I think he means on the belt. How is it different?
Well, there's a couple different ways you can do it. I chose the easiest and most well-maintained method, I guess you could say, because Black Belt, basically started doing these belt printers. I think actually Bill Steele probably actually invented the belt and the slicing software. Well, Black Belt took it to the next level. They embedded it all in Cura. Well, thankfully, everything Bill Steele did was open source. Cura's open source. So they're kind of stuck having to keep their software out there, published open source. And I figured, well, they're constantly making improvements on theirs. Why recreate something that already is out there, works, and is maintained? If they turn into one of them other slicer companies and just stop supporting their users, then I'll hit up Bill Steele some more and say, hey, help me out with, because he does have a plugin app you can take and slice your model with a regular slicer and then funnel it through his plugin, and it then converts it to a 45 degree or a 30 degree, whatever angle you tell it, so you can print. But I wanted to make it where it's just one step and simple, and as long as Black Belt's out there and they're supportive and they're constantly updating, I see no need to go another route yet.
So I don't know if you saw the comment I had up on the screen, but it was, heck, why don't you just set it up and do it at IRF? Let's do the record.
No time like the present. Let's just break some records, baby.
Unfortunately, IRF is only 2.5 days. And if I'm going a foot an hour, I won't make 127 feet, and they won't let me run overnight.
Oh.
They won't. I imagine if we could convince them to let me camp out in the place, they might let it run overnight, because then it would be attended. But convincing them to let me stay in the building might be a bigger feat than getting them to leave the printer run all night.
So Cody had a great question. I believe your printer's open source, right?
Yes, it is.
He asked, where can you find the source files for the printer behind you?
It's all out on GitHub under white_night, Knack 3D Designs, white_night. Or if you go out to my YouTube channel, any of the White Knight videos have the link in the description.
Nice.
There was originally, I think, a Thingiverse link as well, Karl. Is that like older?
It is out on Thingiverse as well. I was going to post all the files on Thingiverse, and I had several people harshly discourage me about putting all the files on MakerBot's website for reasons from the past, I guess. And I didn't. They're like and then the advantages of putting on GitHub to where other people can pull the files, and when they make upgrades, they can publish them through there, and it'll all be accessible across the GitHub that way. But there are links to the GitHub on Thingiverse as well if you stumble across it there.
Yeah, certainly having it on a repository makes it a lot easier to maintain than having to keep uploading change files and stuff.
And I want to comment on something somebody posted on Twitter today. They asked the question, if someone only posts the STLs, is it truly open source? And I had to mention, I said, well, I designed my printer in 3D Builder, and there's only 2 file outputs available in 3D Builder, and neither one of them work really well with most CAD programs. It's pretty much STL or 3MF, and 3MF is just an overglorified STL, in my opinion. So if they were dumb and made it in 3D Builder like I did, that's all they got.
Is there not a 3D Builder like native file though? Because obviously when you work on the project and manipulate it there, like there's
3MF is the native file for 3D Builder, which all 3MF is if you took a cylinder and added a square to it, you have the cylinder and the square. You can't back up the history. You can't. It's literally, you can break it into all the individual shapes. But if you merge something, it's merged for life. Once I save it, there's no history there. You can back up. There's no sketch to look at. If I throw 20 shapes together and I don't merge them into one, you can break those 20 shapes out. But if I merge them into one, once I save it, that's it. It's one shape now, and you can't do anything with it, even in a 3MF.
Jeez.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds kind of like Tinkercad, but Tinkercad will retain the history of the booleans and stuff. So that's not a Microsoft product?
Yeah, that's the cheap free stuff that's in Microsoft, which is why I started in that, because it was like, okay, well, I can get this cheap and free. And by the time I started doing stuff, everybody's like, no, you should be using Fusion. And Fusion was 180 degrees out from what I'd learned in 3D Builder. And it took pretty much people. I got this done, and everybody's like, dude, you really need to remake this in Fusion 360. And I'm like, all right, I don't know, people bug me at Murph. I'm like, okay, fine. I will learn Fusion. And then people and I wish I could, I only can remember the one guy because I see him in all of the chats, 3D Gusner, and I think like 5 other people took all my STLs, and in the course of 2 weeks, converted the White Knight STLs into Fusion files for me. And I've been steadily going through and tweaking and adjusting and modifying them for the Squire. And just,
See, that's the beauty of open source, right? If you weren't open source, you wouldn't have that community, help to drive,
And earlier, while we were talking about the record, I think people are on board. Tyler says we'll take shifts, and we could all do it. And then I'm trying to remember who said this. They said, let's do it in the parking lot. We'll all take shifts watching it.
Yeah. I could just picture it now. One stray bicyclist comes through, or a thunderstorm comes through.
At 126.5 feet.
Yeah. It'll be at 126.5 feet, and a bird will land on the end to make it skip.
Oh, that would be
or
awesome.
you get a jam. That's
right.
Yeah.
Nice.
And none of us can afford to pay Guinness. I said if I ever go for the record, unfortunately, I'll probably have the unofficial longest print, because I don't think any of us can, other than Joseph Prusa, can afford to pay Guinness to show up when we want them to be there to witness it. Otherwise, you got to just sit and wait. I said I'm going to set like 5 cameras up. I'm going to live stream the whole thing, and I'll be like, look, here's the print. Here's all the live streams. I got 1 million witnesses around the world that saw it print. What more do you want to prove I made this? Just bring a darn tape measure and see if it's long enough.
So I gotta ask. I know some people in the chat haven't seen the White Knight before. We haven't seen it print and stuff. So definitely check out his 3D. Actually, all in the description. I just double checked it. All the links are in the description for everybody. But check out YouTube. Can you show the other project you're working on?
Sure. If you want, you can even bring up the screen share.
Oh,
I'll wheel it in behind me here too.
Yeah. So this is called the Squire, right?
Correct.
And how's this going to be different than the White Knight?
It's going to be about half the size.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I have the sword in the way now. Last night, I had the Squire actually sitting inside the White Knight just as a joke. But
So the scale. That's sweet.
I mean, to give you an idea of size, anybody that's got a CR10S Pro or a DaVinci 1.0 or 2.0, the footprint of this is smaller than the CR10S Pro or the DaVinci.
Nice.
Now, granted, obviously, if you print something longer than the belt, well, then, yeah, you've kind of blown the footprint. But
Nice.
And you're kitting both of these? Is that right? I know that you were working on putting a kit together, right?
I'm hoping at some point we do see the kit, yes.
Okay.
I try not to harass David Randolph too hard. I only harass him as much as the community harasses me.
Mm-hmm. Harassment rolls downhill.
Exactly. He was more than happy to send everybody to me when I hadn't delivered him a completed kit for him to produce from. The minute I delivered it to him, I said, "Yeah, buck's back in your court now."
Nice. So those of us who don't know, that's printed solid, right?
Yes.
And they're going to be doing kits for the White Knight. Is that right?
Right now, they're working on development of the White Knight kit, and hopefully, once they get all the bugs worked out on that, it'll be much quicker to roll out a Squire kit if there's enough demand for that as well.
And
I think this one will probably sell more than the White Knight because the White Knight's for the guys like Midnight Giant and Chaos Cortec that want to do just wild, huge, crazy stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. This one's more the practical. It's going to be the build width is going to be 245. I think it's about as high. I haven't taken a tape measure to it yet to figure it out, and I haven't bothered. I should just measure it in Fusion, but that would require me relocating the print nozzle to the top of the carriage, and I still haven't figured out how to do great movements and animations yet with Fusion.
Fusion's great for that stuff, man. That's good. That's good.
Every time I try to make this, you can't see it right now. But every time I try to make this move, the linear rail ends up shooting out the one end when I'll start the animation and it moves great, and then when I finish it, all the linear rails or the extrusions move out of place, and I have to hit back to undo whatever I did. I don't stop the animation. Once I stop it, it all skews out of whack.
Gotcha. That's nice. So the Squire then, how did you decide the size for the Squire? You just said this is just a more standard footprint that people are familiar with.
Let's see, can I get to it? The Squire actually was. I wanted to make something desktop size, but honestly, the original thought, until the belt company said they couldn't do this width, I have this huge spool of hardened stainless steel belt material. My uncle used to own a machine shop. When he closed it down, he said, anything that's left in the building, you're welcome to. And I tripped over this as I was walking through one of the warehouse rooms in the dark. So I brought it home not knowing what I'd do with it. And
lo and behold.
But the thought was when I designed this one was that anybody who wanted to do it on the cheap and didn't want to pay for a welded seam belt could contact me, and I'll pull out my paper cutter and slice off a sheet of that, roll it up, and mail it to them for $20, and they can do the aluminum tape and put build tack or whatever they want over top of it and do it on the cheap. And it's 9 inches wide. Unfortunately, Belt Technologies, without having to do a special order and send the price of my belt through the roof, didn't have 9-inch wide in stock. I had up to 9.5, but there's nothing to say you still couldn't put a 9-inch belt on here and still do it on the cheap. So I'm still going to leave that option out there for people that just can't afford to do the, $400 and some dollars or whatever. Awesome. If you do a group order, you can do it for a lot less. But if they only do one, or it's going to cost.
Right. Well, let's bring Travis back in. I'm sure that Travis.
Hey.
I'm sure that he might have questions and you might have questions. I know you guys weren't in at the same time yet. Also in chat, if you guys have any questions for any of us, throw them in the chat. We'll get to them soon, and we're going to do some giveaways pretty quick too. So, do you guys have any questions for each other while we're here?
Sure. Yeah. So,
hey, don't jump over. All right, everybody, that was Karl and Travis. So anyway, no, I'm just playing. No, I'm just joking. So, but it's funny. Last week, same thing. I like hit that out, and then everyone they're like, yeah, I actually
have nothing to say to that guy.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, for the kits you're going to make, is it just going to be like the extrusions and then files for the like the printed parts, or is it going to be like one big group?
I'm thinking there's probably going to be a couple different levels of the kit, because you got some custom cut aluminum extrusion and the plates, and he's trying to find a good source for the rollers. I think you'll probably have one kit that'll just be all the metal.
Okay.
And then there will probably be the next level kit that will get you, the metal and all the electronics, and you get to choose what hot ends you want, stuff like that. And there will probably even be an option just to order the belt for the people that just want to source and cut everything themselves and everything else. And the belt's just really the hard thing. And then if they order those in enough bulk, that's going to save everybody money. I can't speak for sure for what Printed Solid is doing, but in the conversation I've had with David Randolph, that's kind of seems like what we're going towards. And honestly, if there's a part, I'm sorry to say, but if there's a part of the printer you're going to destroy, it's going to be the belt.
Right.
I've put physical stops in there that'll hopefully keep you from gouging the stainless, so that you'll just end up damaging the build tack or whatever surface you put on it. But there's always that risk if something goes wrong and you get a really bad shift or something, that it's going to throw that head down in there. And hopefully if you've got your physical stops set right, should prevent you from damaging the steel, assuming you set everything right.
So there's no mechanical end stop for limiting the drop.
At the advisement of Bill Steele, yes, there is. There's, I don't know if you can quite see it, but basically right down here on each of the stepper mounts, there's a screw hole that you can put a screw coming this way. So basically what you'd have to do is get everything homed and set where your print height is, and then back these screws out to where they're, a paper thickness away from touching when you're at 0, so that if it ever hits and tries to go below, it's going to bounce off those. But it's one of those things where every time you rehome it, you're going to have to go back and make sure you've got those screws set, that paper thickness away again, so that you don't ever bury out deeper than, the sheet of build tack that's on top of the stainless.
Right. So by no means is this going to be like a plug and play thing. This is like an advanced build kit you're talking about doing, right? Like it's not, there's no option for somebody to just like buy an assembled White Knight or anything at the moment.
Not yet, though. I've had several people beg and plead with me to build them belt printers. Especially some of those people that'll do like 3 streams trying to assemble a printer and then send it to somebody else to do it. There are those people that do it.
I'm still gonna finish that thing. Don't you worry about that.
I'm seeing the question you put up there on the screen. That's still kind of up in the air. I know they're really trying to keep the build or the kit price between $2,000 and $3,000. As for dollar differences between the two sizes, there really isn't a huge dollar difference between the two. I mean, you've got a little bit less extrusion and smaller aluminum plates, but you're still custom cutting the plates. And if you go with all the same components, the money's in the components. The duet, the belt, and the mosquito hot end. Now, I can say, at least I'm pretty sure I can say, and if I'm in trouble, they'll have to live with it. But I did have a nice long conversation with E3D last week. They are working on a custom heat block and nozzle that will hopefully work well with this. So that'll give everybody a E3D V6 option that they won't have to take a file to and make work. And I'm glad to see that someone's going to try and make some nozzles too, because I really don't want to have to make a business of just taking E3D nozzles and turning them down for people's White Knight kits.
What was that? Oh, yeah. Anyways, he wasn't supposed to say that, so no. That's really cool though, because I was
cut his mic.
Cut the mic.
play Wrap It Up music behind. So I what was funny is in my head I'm thinking, what does a nozzle look like when you're doing this? And then you just explained it, so that was perfect. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't know how well. I mean, let's see if I can get it to focus. It probably won't. But if you see, that nozzle is pretty much a perfect triangle. Standard E3D nozzle, anybody that's looked at it, it has that flat out hex edge on it. If you don't cut the nozzle down to that triangle, that flat hex will actually hit the belt before the nozzle tip will.
So what's the angle that I guess what axis is this? The Y?
It's a 45 degree.
It's
That's
at 40.
That's your Y axis.
That's the Y axis. So as a result of going to 45, you run it. So, but if it was modified to go to a shallower angle, would you run into the same problem with the nozzle, or it just depends on
depending on which way you're calling shallow. I mean, if you're talking about coming further down this way, the further this way you go, the less you need to worry about the nozzle being pointed.
Right, but then you're going to limit.
You go, the more you're turning and hitting it.
Cool. Okay.
And I've wanted to do this for a while, and I can never do it with the other printer. I get all these people that argue that the belt is not Z. Okay, this is a COEX Y. If you put it like this, the X and Y is the horizontal axis in front of me. Well, if you turn it at a 45, that's still the X and Y, and what's that leave?
I guess that's Z.
Yeah.
That would be yeah.
I mean, isn't it
I've gotten an
orientation? It's just labeling.
Well, I've gotten in arguments on YouTube that's not Z, that's Y. Why? And I'm like, and it's funny. Somebody got on there and took my defense before I could one time and went, and their answer was, "Who built the printer? Shut up."
I suppose.
If he wants to call it Z,
Hey, I got a comment. There was a couple people in the chats that said you should have Travis finish your Thanos blade for you. That would be a monster project of
lab. Yeah.
I hate to think what it would cost to ship it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
I mean, that's at least $100 print worth of plastic. You said it's like 5 kilos of filament right there, right?
Wow.
Yeah, at least. It actually, by the time I got done, I pretty much, with the failures, I used up a whole 10K spool.
Oh wow!
There's no reinforcement in there. You don't have any rods in there or anything like that.
No rods, nothing.
PLA.
Okay. We'll call it Dimension W.
Compromise.
A couple people have asked, and they said, "Is it the Squire funded for Earth yet?"
Technically, no, not yet. I'm still a little short on funds. Hopefully, not as short on funds as I am on time. But yeah, I could definitely use a few more donations. I got in enough to get the stainless belt ordered. Hopefully, monetary means improve enough to where I'll be able to pay for the last few pieces I still need to buy for it.
Will it print cheese? Yeah, I knew it was coming sometime today.
Chocolate. Yeah.
Where's Chris Riley? Did he put them up to that? So real quick, we're going to do a couple quick giveaways, and then we're going to get wrapping up. We try to keep it within, right around an hour. That way we, get everybody home and out with their families and stuff, and then our guests don't have to spend the whole night with me because you don't know how that's going to go. So, but hey, earlier Pooch had a good tweet on Twitter, so check that out. I think the stream went very well with you on it, so I appreciate that. Nothing crazy happened. See.
It's not over yet, man.
Oh, geez.
It's still early.
So,
never know.
Everybody out there, I know you're a couple seconds behind me, but let's type in mystery for a mystery spool, mystery roll. I said spool. Mystery roll of filament for COEX 3D.
Not even Jim knows what it is.
Yeah, I know. I started watching it when I was talk about squirrel moment. I saw the Andrew S's exactly. I saw Andrew S's comment, and it was.
While we're waiting for a type mystery, I just got to ask Travis.
Yeah.
If you had this printer, what would you make with it?
Probably stuff like that. Just real long, thin stuff. Because like I'm working on. Hold on, I'm gonna actually. So I'm working on like a Viking series of stuff because there is this festival thing. It's like the Nordic Fire Festival we have in Michigan, and it's like think of a Ren Fair, but with fjords.
Okay.
Fjords.
Anyway, so
Fjord Fair.
my fiance and I were gonna dress up and make a bunch of resin kits and sell them.
Nice.
So we're doing like swords and knives and spears and stuff. But yeah, that the belt I should say would be really cool for the stuff I make. Save me a lot of time.
E-motorbike.
A lot of people wanting to do long-edged weapons with that thing.
Yeah. Right.
That's the whole reason, like Mike, helped fund the development of it, right? He just wanted to be able to do giant swords in one piece.
Well, did you see the one he's making right now for the world record?
I haven't seen it.
I gave him a hard time because he's not printing the main sword on the White Knight. And I'm like, dude, why aren't you? He's printing it in chunks on his Artemis. And I'm like, why are you doing that? You have a belt printer.
Mm-hmm.
And then he showed me, he split it in half.
Yeah.
The sword is so big, it won't stand. Like if you stood it up like this in the printer, it just split in half. It's too tall. It would hit the top. If you laid it flat, it's too wide. He made it so big, even split in half either direction, it won't fit on the White Knight.
Good to mean a bigger boat.
He said he was glad he did it because he started putting the pieces together and he got like half of it done and went to pick it up and realized he needed to add more reinforcement to it. Had he done it in two big pieces, he would have got all done and realized it wouldn't hold itself together.
That's
we all know Midnight Giant does not do small.
No.
He's going to need to have a new display crate built just for this
Right.
thing. Just bigger and bigger and bigger, right?
Yeah, he's the one who found out. He's the one who found out how much it costs to have Guinness show up because he wanted to. He was all planning on having them come to Earth to judge his sword for the world's largest 3D printed sword, and then they told him, "Yeah, well, for us to be where you want us, when you want us, it costs this much." And he went, "Okay, yeah, it'll just have to be an unofficial record."
So Wendy's in the house she's actually from COEX, and she said she knows what the mystery spool is.
Tell us, Wendy, what's the mystery?
Let's do it. There we go.
It's liver. It's liver filament.
Dominique. Let's see if it pops up on screen here. It should. Hopefully it catches up here. There we go. Dominique, congratulations. Shoot me an email.
Hey.
Jim at where are we? The Edge of Tech, right? Wow. No. Jim at theedgeoftech.com. And I'll get your information over to COEX and we'll get you hooked up. Once again, just shoot me an email. There is my email address. So freeze it, take a screenshot, copy it, take a picture, or just look in the description. I think my email's in there.
Congrats, Dominique. Way to go.
Congratulations.
I know that guy. It's Dominic.
Oh, it's Dominic. Well,
Yeah.
there you go. See, thank you.
Dominic.
Sorry about that, Dominic. Yeah, I knew that the whole time. I was just waiting for Travis to speak
He
up.
probably gets that a lot. Sorry, Dominic.
And I don't speak English apparently. So no. Thank you so much, Dominic. And Wendy, I am going to do a $25 gift card. We'll figure that out with you after the stream because I said I would last week if Walter got a printer printing. He didn't, but I'm going to do it anyway. So this will be straight from me. It's not sponsored by COEX, but I'm just going to do it. Let's see. What should we do this one? How about
Bad Bear?
Bad Bear?
Yeah, Walter's Bad Bear.
How about we just do Walter? Because it's his fault.
Yeah, Walter's fail.
Walter's falter.
There you go. I don't want to get it too confusing here because Nightbot might freak out. So type in Walter. We'll do one more for the $25 towards COEX. That'll be on me, and the winner will get a hold of me, and we'll figure out how we're going to do it.
Our co-hosts allowed to win.
Yeah, go ahead. Why not? So while we're doing this, I know we're up against time, and we're a little bit over. We'll start with Karl. Karl, tell everybody who you are, where we can find you, and what's coming up.
I'm Karl, the Knack 3D Designs. You can find me on Twitter and YouTube at Knack 3D Designs. I even got a little bit of stuff out there on Thingiverse, Knack 3D Designs, and it's NAK 3D Designs. Not Naked Designs like someone in the stream likes to call me every once in a while. Just saying. Yeah.
Say what you will, man. It says Naked Design.
Nice.
Neat.
If you don't know what ERF is, look it up. Be there. But all of us, I think, are going to be there this October. Hopefully, I will have both printers there and working as well.
Ooh.
And who knows beyond that where I'll be next. It'd be nice for Printed Solid to start, selling kits and money roll my way. Yeah, right. But I'd love to be able to take it on a road tour and go down to like Orlando Maker Fair would be awesome to do. Right time of year, take my daughter to Universal Studios, just saying.
French Riviera. I mean, why stop there, right?
I've been to the French Riviera. It's all right.
Hey, Karl, if you go to ERF and you have both printers working, can you make them joust? Like printing a joust and then they...
Yes.
Yeah. Do 2 long prints and let them run into each other.
Joust to the Z death.
And then whoever lets go loses.
Yes.
White Knight jousting.
I will film that. Let's do it.
You heard it here first.
Yes.
I'm still trying to convince Mitch that we need to make one about 2/3 this big to mount on his back, and I want it to print going up. So as he's walking, it just keeps printing up into the sky as he's walking around the place.
For Mitch?
Yeah. Replace the Delta with a belt instead.
Well, at least you're going up, because if you're going down, you just keep growing a tail longer and longer. Hey, about 20 seconds on Walter. If you've not
we can get him up on stilts.
Nice, that would be awesome. If you've not typed Walter in the chat, I give you 20 seconds on that. Anyways, Josh, how about Travis? Where are you from?
Okay. Let's see. I've got stuff on Instagram, Twitter. Have a website. Pretty much, it's either Sad Narwal or Sad Narwal Props for all my stuff. I put up build updates, that sort of stuff, final designs, and
nice.
Sometimes my cat.
Your cat, nice. Wait, do you patina your cat?
No, it's already like orange and.
Oh, okay, just making sure.
Yeah.
That would be awesome. Oh man, 3D Medic Vince, congratulations! Shoot me an email. Shoot me an email, and we'll hook you up with COEX, and we'll get you that. Last but not least, Pooch, go ahead.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? I'm Alan Puccinelli, Pooch. I go by Repkord on Twitter. Also, you can catch me at Community Ketchup every fortnight on youtube.com/Community Ketchup. It's been awesome. Thank you for having me. I've had a lot of fun.
Thank you for coming, and you didn't bring the cranch, so we're all very thankful.
Hey, I don't want to go anywhere near the cranch, man. That stuff is gross.
If you guys have not checked out Community Ketchup, check that out. It's very cool. It's similar to this. And tell them how they can get on. Tell them how to be featured on the Community Ketchup.
Yeah, just do something awesome that's like worth talking about, right? So, we really I'm glad to see. I want to see more shows like this, because really, like, there's so much awesome stuff happening out in social media, and it's impossible to like keep up with all of it, right? Across all the different mediums, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. And so we really wanted to try to have like a little, editorial experience where we could feature awesome stuff that we've, come across, and really cool stuff has happened. Like our last show, we did a whole bit on lithophane making, and we wouldn't have had the color lithophane collaboration between Jason Pruce and lithophane maker, and so it's like we're making relationships happen, we're connecting people, and really just like bolstering the community, which is what it's all about, So yeah, check it out. Tag stuff. So the way you basically submit to us is you just do hashtag Community Ketchup. That's ketchup with the K. And we basically compile a list of all those tags and go through what we think is the coolest. Sometimes we don't even have time to go through all of it, so it sucks that we have to kind of pick through it,
Nice. Well, if anyone hasn't seen it, go check it out. You can find them, Community Ketchup on YouTube. All the links are in the description here, and definitely check out the last one. Those color lithophanes are amazing.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate you guys coming. Thank you so much to our stream sponsors, TH3D, COEX Filament. I know Wendy was in the house, and she is from COEX, and she's excited to give away those mystery spools. Robbie Mack, RPM Designs, thank you so much, and StreamYard for giving us this opportunity to stream on your platform. We appreciate that as well. Again, thank you, everybody. I know there's a lot of crunch going on in there, and good nights and all that stuff, but I really appreciate it. You guys hang out just for a second. I'm going to kick off the outro, and I'll be right back with you. But everybody, you guys have a great week, and keep
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, hey, no problem.
You guys.
And if anybody ever wants to be on the show, just like Karl and Travis and Pooch, just shoot me an email, jim@theedutech.com. Thanks to Pooch for telling me to get my own email address, too.
You're doing the game, Jim. You're doing awesome.
That's right.
Yeah.
You guys have a great night, everybody. Have a good one.
Good night, guys.
See ya.